Hey guys, Andrea, welcome back to the channel. So guys, this is a We Need to Talk video series. So guys, this is going to be a pretty heavy topic. So I'll put my playlist up here and down in the pinned comments if you want to find something a bit more cheery to watch. So guys, this is a very heavy topic. Chosen to be outside because of the heaviness of the topic as well. And that's support worker abuse. So this is the dark side of the NDIS. We are seeing that particularly a lot of new Australians or people on work visas are very easily picking up support worker jobs. Either because they don't know the labour laws, they don't know what a support worker really does, they are overused and abused. And even within agencies, they can also be used and abused. So guys, let's be clear about what the abuse is. It can be manipulation by a client or other staff member. It can be the victim of gossip. It can be the victim of, it can be fiscal abuse. So expecting the support workers to pay for everything when they are not willing to or able to pay for it. It's expecting them to go outside the scope of their role, outside their working hours. It's also mental abuse. So again, things like manipulation, but this also then goes into weaponizing negative emotions as well. Then swearing and physical abuse, so being kicked, hit, spat at, having weapons around them. And this is why we do need positive behaviour support plans. So that redirects the things into boundaries. So we essentially support workers when they're working with people with behaviours of concern, whether male or female, need to have essentially balls of steel. And they need to be one tough cookie. But also understand that behaviour is a form of communication. If that person is incredibly manipulative, leaves housemates out, leaves other people out, holds people emotionally hostage, gives people the silent treatment, is not generally emotionally vulnerable to people, there might be a history of abuse, neglect in that person's life, or even a complex trauma background. Because that's a whole other video I'm going to get into, is disability and trauma. And it's not something that's often talked about, is being allowed to grieve and being allowed to identify as disabled. I know I have family members who definitely gatekeep me being disabled. They definitely do appreciate my support workers, they're nice to them. But as soon as I do something that's outside the realm of what they perceive as normal behaviour, they're on to me. They firmly believe that I just need more discipline, I just need to work harder, study harder, focus more. Unfortunately, these things are not going to happen easily. Yes, I can study harder. I can ask for help for focusing with body doubling, but guys, my fatigue, the Sjogren's and the brain injury and the epilepsy is not going to go away. It's going to get progressively worse. Let me say that this family member cares for me, loves me, is willing to cook meals for me even, which is brilliant. But because of her being in physical pain, these are some of the things that come out. And so we need to again remember that she's acting from pain, and that being physical pain and annoyance, tiredness as well. So guys, we've talked about the whole framework that was originally adapted for recovering addicts in generally sober living situations as well. So that being, you're hungry, lonely, angry or tired, and then working to fix those things. So guys, abuse is not something that we tackle easily, but one thing that we can really help to do is having a support worker doing really comprehensive shift notes, giving them the time and the space to do it, having good, well-trained support workers. So that's them at minimum having their Certificate 3 in disability support or related field. So that might be childcare, that might be nursing, that might be psychology, that might be a peer support certificate as well. But as long as those who are coming from a medical background, so nursing, aren't over medicalising that disability, they are certainly using the person-based and skills-based approaches to things. And this is where we also go into the manipulation of I can't do it. And so that is weaponised incompetence. So like my old maths teacher said, she is happy if I didn't understand the concept to explain it in 100 different ways, as long as I was trying to get the concept. As long as I wasn't goofing off in class and I was genuinely trying. Support workers should have that same very attitude, that as long as you're trying to master the skill, don't get frustrated, don't get angry, support me in doing that. And if there's 2 different levels of support needed, give the higher functioning person that little bit more attention so they know they're not left to float unattended, essentially. Also engage people in what they're doing. Then, so the training also protects you with good, solid boundaries of what a support worker is able to do and what they're not able to do. In the case of independent support workers, should be clearly defined in your contract. This is where working with, on the flip side, a support coordinator is a really great idea, because service agreements aren't mandatory, but they are a very good idea. They are a legal document, as is shift notes. So please remember that if you go by an alias, you do need to sign your legal name that you were known as in this country. So just be very aware of that. I've just heard a story where someone was using a name of a person they're related to on shift notes, and that company, and it's not one that I work with, is now not going to pass their accreditation because this person wasn't signing the right last name. So we need to remember shift notes are a legal document, and if the person is able to, shift notes should be done with the person and not for them. If it's a person who's non-verbal, then yes, or mental disability, definitely, then it's up to the support worker to keep those notes. But then we also go into things like, okay, if you're independent, who supplies of the phone, the car, the internet access that's needed? Is that a work-related expense for you, or is that client supplied? As well as toiletries and things like that. So if you're expected to do a sleepover at someone's house, I know that in my housing agency, the support workers bring their own bedding, but we are responsible for supplying the support workers' bathroom with toilet paper. So, guys, it is a hard topic to talk about, but we need to treat support workers with respect and dignity. To me, I will treat everyone in a respectful manner. But if you take me for granted, if you don't pop down on a shift, if you start yelling at me about a topic that I'm trying to workshop, I will completely shut down. I understand that some support workers get very passionate about topics as well, but you need to remember that you're in a work situation. So the one thing that I've learnt to ask, as I'm now job seeking because I'm coming to the end of my course, is, would that be acceptable in an office? Would that be a behaviour be acceptable in a day centre? Would that behaviour be acceptable in church or the mosque? So if it's not acceptable in any of those places, why is it acceptable when you're supporting someone? So we do need to have a talk about this, and I know that there's a lot of support workers who abuse, neglect and manipulate clients. In fact, I've been the victim of this as well. Guys, that's going to be my topic of my next live as well. And so we need to remember that. there is a flip side of people getting a diagnosis purely so they can get support and then overstepping the boundaries of support, trying to get everything they can. And this is what's leading to the NDIA and NDIS cost blowout. People not understanding that it should be a last resort, not a first resort. And for those who are on the A, B lists, I'm not denying you guys anything. You guys need that level of support. But for people, I'm on the B list myself, but for people on the C and the D list who are complaining about having to get evidence, having to get family and friend support, getting very limited support, be grateful that you have the support of family and friends. It is actually very, very rare in the disability community. And I know that there is systemic issues that I've talked about over on the blog as well. So guys, I know this has been a hard topic to talk about, but essentially support work being such a new field is something that we need to be very much aware of and understand and respect, and looking out for your support workers and realizing that they are human too. They need their lunch breaks, they need to pee. They're not your housekeeper, they're not your mum, they're not your best friend. So guys, they're a weird combination of all three. Remember that if you can do it yourself, you need to be able to do it for yourself. But if there are systemic barriers that are keeping you from doing it, or physical things, so it might not be safe for you to cook or clean for yourself. So you might have a housekeeper or a cleaner come through once or twice a week and a support worker doing the rest. Might not be suitable for you to cook. So a meal delivery service, there is always ways around things as well. So guys, we need to remember that boundaries need to be kept on both sides as well. I have some ex-support workers who are now I'm great friends with, but we had to wait a year until we could reconnect. I know that some agencies have anti-poaching clauses as well. So guys, that's something to think about, is when you're in the moment, when you're in pain, when you're frustrated, when you're tired, how can you treat that support worker with respect and dignity? Because there is some very personal moments in that role. They might be showering you, they might be toileting you, they might be changing feminine hygiene products. So the way you can treat them with respect is having gloves, having soap, having tea, coffee available to them in the house. I know not everyone can afford it, but in a job that is support based and people based, in people's homes, those things really, really do matter. And for those of you who are considering becoming a support worker, I'm not going to discourage you, but I am going to say that yes, you need to be a very strong man or a woman. You need to know what type of disabilities and mental health conditions that you will work with, what backgrounds you will work with, and what your personal circumstances are. People think it's all taking people out to Comic Cons, to coffee, to cake, to the movie. Guys, unless that person's got a companion card, you're paying for the meals yourself. But the reality is you're helping that person clean house, you're taking them to medical appointments, you're taking them to work, to a day centre, you're helping them with study, you're helping them edit YouTube videos, typing, running a blog, you're doing the washing, you are in a housing situation essentially running the house for them. In a private situation, there's often other things that are agreed upon as well. You need to acknowledge the role that your own family and the client's families are going to play as well. So guys, there's some ways that you can avoid, as a support worker, being abused, and that's having firm and clear boundaries, having training in positive direction support,